let's go ahead and get started. If you're still eating, you can go ahead and finish up. Don't let me stop you. If you haven't already, please turn your cell phones on vibrate or silent so that those aren't going off this evening. All right. I'd like to welcome everybody to the 2013 Spring Sports Banquet. As I was saying before, we started to eat. Of course, you guys were all hungry. You probably just heard a lot of blah, 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 blah. But we had an extremely successful spring, something that all four of our spring sports should be proud of, along with the coaches and parents and just the community in general. I'm just going to take a quick second to introduce the coaches, and then I'm going to let them do, of course, the majority of the talking for the night. But before I do that, how about a nice round of applause for Cheryl Wolk and her kitchen staff for the wonderful meal. Also, our booster officers who spend a heck of a lot of time, and they're volunteering that time in the concession stands, working at these banquets. We have 4 officers who put in countless hours, and they're behind the scenes, and they don't look for any recognition or any compensation, but they do a lot for our student athletes and for this school, including paying for and doing a lot of stuff with this banquet. So how about a nice round of applause for our sports boosters. We're losing a few of them, so I just wanted to embarrass them really quick and make them stand up. Chris Ritter, can you stand up? Lori Meyer, and is Nikki Jenkins here? She's not here tonight. These are 3 booster officers that we're losing that have done a tremendous amount for the school, and I'm confident that the people we have coming in are going to do a great job, but these 3 will be sorely missed. And what a way to cap off the fabulous spring sports season than a state championship by our girls track team. How about a nice round of applause for that state championship? That is the first ever track state championship, boys or girls, and hopefully not the last. I think we've got some more in the near future, barring a lot of things, but we'll see how that all pans out for us. Starting on my far left here, we've got the girls' assistant track coach, Dustin Keeker. The handsome fella to his right is the boys' assistant track coach, wearing a pretty shirt there. That's Chris Thompson. One of our volunteer coaches for track, and the amount of time that he puts in is it's amazing. It's year-round, mornings, afternoons. It's just ridiculous. And those of you who are involved know exactly how much time he puts in. Volunteer coach John Boyd for track. To his right, how about the winningest coach in St. Genevieve history? That's St. Gen Ann Valley. How about that? Yeah. Brian Dent. He was also, last night he was awarded the KTJJ Dream Team Girls Track Coach of the Year. So congratulations, Brian Dent. To his right, also track coach, but the head boys track coach, Russ Toombs, who, just like Coach Jett last night, it was announced that he was the boys track and field KTJJ Dream Team Coach of the Year. Russ Toombs. To my right, we got a newbie over here, Coach Schweiss. He's our one and only golf coach. He did a tremendous job with the golf team this year, as you can see from the accolades, I guess, on the back of the program and on the monitor up there. He did a great job with the kids, went into it kind of as a newer coach, and learned quickly, and is coming back an even better coach next year. So Kyle Schweiss is our golf coach. To his right is our head baseball coach, who led the team to the most wins in school history for baseball. What did that end up being? 21? 21, which beat it by not just one or two, it beat it by several. So head coach Mike McDaniel for baseball. The young fella to his right in a pretty Pete shirt, that is the assistant, or one of the assistant baseball coaches, and that is Mark Gibson. Another volunteer coach that puts in quite a bit of time and of course is not compensated. He does it for the kids, and that is Cody Schwinn. He's a volunteer baseball coach. Okay, and Josh Banks, the one on the end there, he is also an assistant baseball coach. Unfortunately, Josh is going to concentrate more on girls basketball next year, which is totally fine. We hate to lose him as a coach. He's done a tremendous job, and again, Josh Banks. Okay, I believe speaking for each of the sports, for baseball is going to be Coach McDaniel and Coach Gibson. For golf is obviously going to be Coach Schweiss. For track will be Coach Toombs and Coach Jett. And at this time, I'm going to turn it over to Coach Schweiss for golf. So you're up, big boy. Big boy.
All right, first of all, I want to congratulate, just following what Nick said, the guys to my right, to my left. This was an incredibly wildly successful season to end a very wildly successful year. So congratulations to all the coaches up here on your accomplishments. Before I get started, Before I get started, I want to thank some people. First of all, Coach Nix for giving me this opportunity to coach the golf team, or as I called it, supervise the golf team. A couple years ago, I got out of football, and I thought I gave my last one of these speeches. Little did I know that 2 years later I'd come back as a golf coach, especially considering I didn't play golf. But here I am. I'm getting there, I promise. Also, I want to thank Dale Curry, Lindsey Hogemiller, and the entire St. Genevieve Country Club staff. They were very accommodating to me, and you go around the conference and around the area and you hear horror stories about coaches dealing with the country clubs and all the different things that they have to, the hoops that they have to jump through, and we didn't have to do any of that with our guys out there at the country club. They were awesome. So thank you to you guys. The groundskeepers at St. Gen, they do an awesome job out there. Our course was a couple weeks ahead of everybody else's in the area. So thank you for doing an awesome job. To the sports boosters, thank you for all the support that you give us, all the money, all the banquet here that you provide us. This is awesome. Special thank you to the parents, especially with golf. Golf is something that starts at a very young age, and a lot of these guys on the team have been playing for a long, long time. And it's not only a time commitment, but it's also a financial commitment. Anybody that plays golf knows that it can get pretty expensive. So thank you to your parents for all the time, all the money, and all the support that you give the kids. To my wife, Nikki, she couldn't be here tonight, but a couple years ago I got out of coaching because we had 2 little kids at home, and I came home with the idea of coaching again, and she looked at me and basically said, "Are you crazy?" But while I'm playing golf with the kids, she's at home with our kids, so she had to take on a lot of sacrifice, and I appreciate that. And lastly, I want to thank the golfers. You guys were a great group for me to start with. You guys were absolutely amazing, particularly to the seniors, which I'll talk about you guys. I couldn't have asked for a better group to work with in my first year. Yeah. And my printer's broke at home, so I'm going Bobby Weiler style here with the legal pad. Sorry. Before I get started, I just want to make sure, Wes Klein, Sam Schwint, and Ryan Kemper, are you guys here? I don't think you are. Okay. All right. I'm going to call these guys up one at a time. Hold your applause to the end. I'm going to say a little bit about each person. I'm going to start with our only freshman on the team, and that was Nathan McClin. Nathan was a JV player for us this year. He's got a very natural swing. He's got a lot of potential. I got it right here. I'll get it. He's got a lot of potential. We're looking for big things for him in the future. He came in, he was a little raw, but as I said, he had a good swing. He improved his game around the green a lot throughout the course of the year. He needs to stay out of the trees a little bit, but other than that, we're really going to count on him next year. We got some pretty good kids coming back, and we're going to have to fill some holes with our seniors that are leaving. But I really feel that if Nathan puts some time in during the off season, that he can really be a big part of some successes next year. Next person I want to call up here is Paige Schmelsley. Paige has been a 4-year player. Paige has an awesome attitude. She was the medalist for a round at Forshey Valley in a match against Potosi. She was also second in a scramble. She was partners with Nathan McLean up here at the Windsor Invitational. Paige, as I mentioned, is a senior. She's going to East Central College next year. She'll be playing volleyball. So she's got a pretty bright future, and her days of athletics are still in front of her. Next, Zach Dowdy. Zach couldn't be here today, but I'm going to mention him anyway because he's been a big part of the program. He was a 3-year player. He's been extremely consistent throughout the course of the year. He was one of those guys, you kind of knew that he wasn't going to come in with a super low round, but you always could count on him to score. He would always be one of our top 4 in a match. His score would always count, and if you got a 4 guy that can come in with a 45 consistently, that's pretty good, especially in this area in high school golf. So he was an integral part of our success. He medaled in the St. John Valley tournament. He averaged a 47.2 on the season. Next, we have Brandon Mueller. Brandon was also a 4-year player. Brandon came on very strong at the end of the year. Before the season started, I kind of talked to Coach Taylor, who was the coach last year, and asked him kind of what I had coming back, because I really didn't know. I didn't know the specifics of who. I knew who was on the team, but I didn't know what they were capable of. So I kind of had him brief me before the season, and he said, Mueller, man, he's a good golfer. He crushes the ball. Well, Mueller, about 3 weeks into the season, I was like, seriously, this guy? But I went and I talked to Taylor about 3 weeks in. He said, oh, he's a slow starter. And then the next day I went to Mueller. I said, are you a slow starter? He goes, I hate playing in the cold. Well, the season went on. He proved to me that he was a slow starter, because by the time the season ended, he was crushing the ball, and he was really on pace to do some really good things. But then he went to Crown Valley and put up probably one of the worst 9-hole rounds of his life. What did you shoot, 58? Shot a 58 on the back nine, and then he came back with a 42 on the front. So if he could have got that 42 on both sides, he would have been qualifying for sectionals, and that score would have been enough to qualify him for state as well. So one bad round kind of ruined his season, but he really came a long way this year and did a really good job for us. Next, Clayton Gilo. Oh, by the way, Brandon is going to Truman next year, and he will be studying actuarial science. I don't know what that is, but I don't know, something with finance.
Nothing with numbers.
Anyway, Clayton Gilo. He's been a 4-year player. Clayton has a lot of natural ability, had a great swing. His driver kind of let him down a little bit throughout the course of the year. He was up and down. He was one of our guys that I wanted to put in the number 1 spot consistently. And every time I would put a number 1 by his name, he'd shoot a high round. And then I'd put like a 3 by his name, and he'd shoot a really good round. And then I'd put him back at 1, and he'd shoot a bad round. But that was kind of the theme of our season. But he medaled in the St. John Valley tourney, as well as Brandon did also. Clayton averaged a 48 for the year. That average would have been much lower had it not been for a couple bad rounds that he shot. But Clayton is a great kid. He's one of those kids. He's the only one of my golfers that I ever coached before. I coached him in football, and I remember when we were JV coaches, JV football coaches, going into the coach's office one time, and this applies to golf too. And I was talking to Coach Sherry. I was like, Clayton Gilo drives me nuts. I was like, he's one of those guys that you can compliment him and pat him on the butt, and tell him all the tell him all the good things that he's doing, and he'll sit there and he'll have that same smile on his face, and then the next minute he'll do something totally stupid, and you'll chew him out because he did it wrong, and he'll have that same smile on his face, and you can never get a read on what he was thinking because he always had that same smile on his face, and he's probably got it on his face right now. And last on the team was Kyle. Not last on the team, but the last person I have to bring up here is Kyle Roth, also a four-year player. Kyle's average was second on the team, it's 46.2. He medaled in the St. John Valley Invitational. He was all conference. He shot a round of 87 at Terre de Lac at the conference tournament, and he was the lone qualifier for sectionals. Kyle was very consistent throughout the course of the year. And he was a big part of our team's success, which I'm about to get into. There are two guys that aren't here tonight that I promised I would not leave off the list because they had prior engagements, and when it got rescheduled, they couldn't make it. We had two sophomores on the team. Tim Schweigert, this was his first year on the team. He had the lowest average in matches and tournaments. His average was 46.1. He just barely notched out Kyle. He was also all conference. He shot an 85 at Terre de Lac at the conference tournament. And Tim hopefully has 2 more good years left in him and hopefully some big things. The other one, a sophomore, is Matt Turek. Matt's at a bowling tournament tonight. For those of you who don't know Matt, which Matt's an incredibly quiet young man, he's an incredible bowler and has a pretty bright future, I think, in bowling if he chooses to pursue it. He actually had a tournament not long ago, and he bowled 9 games and averaged a 237. So I told him we have something in common. His golf score, or my golf score, and his bowling score are about the same. But Matt was, this is his second year on the team. He was a freshman last year, was very successful as a freshman. He has a very natural swing as well. He averaged a 47, and that's including a very slow start. Him and Mueller were kind of in the same boat. They were battling for that 6th spot at the beginning of the year, and then by the end of the year, they were up at the top of the list every time I put a lineup together. He shot the low round of the year at Kimberlin Country Club. We went up against some really stiff competition with some teams from the Boot Heel, Cape Notre Dame, Sykeston, Poplar Bluff, and those kids can play. Matt shot a 40 on the front 9 and a 44 on the back 9. That's a pretty tough course for anybody who's played it, so that was a pretty impressive feat. Matt was also all conference. He also shot an 87 like Kyle did. Now, with the team accolades, as I flip through my legal pad, as a team, we were 10-4 in matches. We were 10-2 in conference. Both losses came to Potosi. Potosi ended up winning the outright conference championship. We finished second in conference, which was one of our best finishes in a long time. We won the Valley St. John Invitational Tournament. It was the first time we'd ever done that. We finished second to Potosi in the MAAA Conference Tournament. The individual awards for the year, the most improved golfer was Sam Schwint, and he's not here tonight. Sam actually shaved 8 strokes off of his game from the beginning of the season to the end of the season. He had one really bad round out at the Palos, but other than that, he did really good toward the end of the year. The Spirit of the Game Award, this goes to the person who exemplifies basically what it means to be a golfer, passion, cares about what they do, cares about the game, and that goes to Miss Paige Schmelsley. If you are a big fan of roller coasters, you need to play a round of golf with Paige Schmelsley because you will go through all the ups and all the downs, and she will have one horrible hole and you will think that the world is coming to an end, and then the next time around she'll make an 8-foot par putt and you would think that she just lit the world on fire. So she's been an awesome person to have on the team. She's incredibly positive. She made the van rides to and from very entertaining as well, as she talks a lot. So. The most valuable golfer award goes to Kyle Roth. Kyle has sailboats on his pants, if you were wondering. As I mentioned before, Kyle was our lone qualifier for sectionals. The season didn't end as he wanted it to, I'm sure, because he didn't golf real well in the last round of the season at Bent Creek. But as the season went on, Kyle got better and better. He was very consistent throughout the course of the year, and he was a great guy to have around and a great teammate. These guys, especially, no offense to Nathan. Nathan, you got plenty of years to make your mark, but these guys over here to the right, they were extremely awesome group of kids. Most of them had extremely difficult course schedules. And when I say course schedules, I'm talking about classes. A lot of college algebra, a lot of calculus, a lot of physics. It would have been real easy for them to say, you know what, I got the rest of my life to play golf. I need to focus on, getting ready for college. Between the 5 of our seniors, we've got Paige is going to play volleyball at East Central. Brandon's going to Truman, and Clayton's going to Rolla eventually, and Kyle's going to Mizzou, and Dowdy's going to Missouri State. So they all have big plans and big futures ahead of them. And I just want to thank you guys for taking the time to stick it out one more year and having such a successful season. It was really a fun time. So thank you. Everybody? All right, I'm supposed to present these to everybody. First, we will start out with the 4th edition Golf for Dummies. What are you saying? Self-explanatory? Oh, you guys all get a ball, too. Open that up and look. Open this up? Okay, these are golf balls. Wow, you know you're not an avid golfer when you don't know how to open the golf balls. Wow, they have my picture on them. And I lose a lot of balls, so if you golf at St. Genevieve Country Club, keep your eyes peeled. Now this one I can keep and not be ashamed of. The Schweiss squad. I had the Schweiss girls, now I got the Schweiss squad. And the joking around looks real, applied to any glass surface, window. Oh, I gotcha. I guess because I hit a lot of inanimate objects when I play. So anyway, thank you guys.
I hope I find one of those balls out there at the golf course. I'm going to have a lot of fun with that. I think I have to take back all the nice things I said since you're patting your players on the butt, Coach Rice. We'll talk about that later. Really quick before we have boys track, our girls track is going to go first before Coach Chet comes up. Some of you guys know this already, but at 8:05, weather permitting, we're going to try to show up on the TV screen a quick race. Taylor Warner, you guys may have heard of her before. The reason she's not here tonight is because she's running in a huge race. It's a Big River Festival of Miles up at SLU High School. She's running against the second best runner in Missouri, a girl named Hannah Long from Eureka, who is a tremendous runner. She's her and Taylor not only are good friends, but are pretty equal as far as their talent, if you can believe that. But they've also got stud runners coming from Iowa, Arkansas, and other places like that. It's a national type race for national recognition, maybe even Gatorade Runner of the Year for track type thing. So if we, weather permitting, are able to do it, and I apologize if we're either going to be on boys track or on baseball when we get there. So coaches, if we get to that point, I know the baseball coaches, since it's for the kids, they don't have any issue with that, but we may have to stop and flip it on and let us watch Taylor Warner compete against some of the best in the nation. So we'll do that here about 8:05-ish, weather permitting. Girls track, Brian Jeff, come on up.
I hope I'm still not talking at 8:05, but I might be. Coach Weiss, I sympathize with you. Why is it? Because you coach something, you're supposed to be good at it. I can't run to the bathroom. Well, it's customary to start with thank yous. And before I get started, I'm going to apologize. If you think I've got to be a better public speaker, I haven't. I'm still not comfortable doing this. But we'll muddle through it. I did write the speech on the last day of school. I haven't read it since then. God knows what I said. I had to finish up a little bit this morning, so I know the back end of it's pretty okay. All right, thank yous. First persons on the list are Mid-America Rehab, especially Enriqueta and Shannon. They helped out at our invitational meets, and I could call Enriqueta and get somebody out to the clinic if necessary. I need to thank Tracy Newman. She provided meals for all our invitational meets for the coaches' hospitality. We had a lot of chili, which was appropriate for this season because of the cold, wet weather. Need to thank Jess Hess. She helped out in a training capacity. She was at practice every day. She helped keep the kids patched together as well. And we hosted a lot of track meets. I think we had 9 of them this year. And those things don't host themselves. So I've got a number of people I need to thank in that regard. First on my list is Janet Schwent. She helped with the timing, as did Nancy Toombs and Jason Bowman. Nikki Reed helped out in the press box. Mary Rosenquist came out of retirement and announced a couple of meets for us, both the Invitational and the Old Settlement. And we had a number of people help run our field events. Tyne Hook, formerly Time Schwent, Clayton Cox, Nicole Shank, Jared Bonnell, Candace Burr, and Allie Klein. I need to thank Mike Boyd at the Herald and Don Pritchard at the radio station. I need to thank the guys at J98 for their coverage and their Dream Team efforts. I'd like to thank the administration, especially Mr. Nix. He does a great job for us. I need to thank the sports boosters and everybody that helped out in the concessions at our meets. I would be remiss if I didn't thank the coaches' wives for becoming track season widows. And I'd like to thank the coaching staff for their passion, their commitment, and their dedication. A special thanks to Mr. John Boyd for everything he does. He's here every hour that I am, and some hours that I'm not. And I need to thank all the parents, because if you didn't raise such great kids, we wouldn't have jobs. Let's give a round of applause for the parents. Okay, let's get on with the season. This is the biggest team I've had in my 13 years as the head coach. We started the season with 45 girls, and we only lost a few along the way. Overall, I'd say we had a good season despite the uncooperative weather. Some of our youngsters suffered from the weather's wrath because we did have 2 JV meets that were canceled. And when this happens, it limits their opportunities to compete. However, everyone seemed to understand and were exceptionally cooperative. We were blessed with a great bunch of girls to work with. We saw a number of wins, and for the most part, competed at a very high level. Our most impressive performances were at the district meet, where Festus beat us by a point, the sectional meet, where we placed second out of 22 teams, 4.5 points out of a win, and finally the state meet, where we scored 48 points and edged out Lutheran South for state championship. Okay, at this time I'm going to bring some people up. We'll start with our managers. I don't know who all's here today, but freshman Bethany Beckett. How about Maureen Papen? Anna Heinzman. Sophomore Chris Davis. Senior Jordan Upchurch. Jordan did a great job for us this year. He was our announcer most of the season. Let's hear that big announcer voice. Come on, you can do it. Big announcer voice.
Good evening.
He's a natural. I think he's got a career in it. Senior Amanda Berger. I'm digging the earrings, Amanda. You'll be able to hide in the jungles of Cambodia with that kind of camouflage. Should I explain? Let's see what else we got. Senior Danielle Dowdy. Sophomore Andrew Nagger. Those were our managers this year. Oftentimes they're like having another coach. They do a great job for us, immense help, and we couldn't run our track programs without them. Big rounds of applause for our managers. Okay, I've got 40 some athletes to talk about. If you'll hold your applause, I'm gonna call them up. If they're here, I'll read it. If not, I'll skip over them. First one on the list, freshman Haley Bach. Junior Claire Bosler. Claire was a utility sprinter and mid-distance runner whose real passion was the pole vault. Claire's a hard-working young lady who saw a PR of 8'6" in the vault and narrowly missed advancing to sectionals this year. Freshman Emma Bosler. Emma's a promising young freshman whose season was cut short by injury. Her PRs include 2:41 in the 800, 68.4 in the 400, and a 30-second 200. I'll talk a lot of times and distances. Freshman Tess Bowman. Tess is one of our many promising young throwers. Her favorite throw is the shot, where her personal best this year was 24 feet 8 inches. Sophomore Jessica Boyer. Jess is one of our hurdlers and triple jumpers. Her season's best in the 100-meter hurdles were 18:12, and her best triple jump this season was 28:1. Sophomore Beth Brown. Beth was another member of our throwing group. She earned PRs of 26 feet 2 inches in the shot and 87 feet in the discus. She shows real promise. Freshman Kelsey Karen. Freshman Madison Drury. Freshman Natalie Engel. Freshman Jess Finley. Sophomore Maggie Fleeg. Magdalena, come on up. She's a hard worker. She ran anything from the 100 to the 800 this season, but I think her best race was the 800, and she recorded a season best of 2:39, member of a pretty decent 4x8 relay team. Freshman Cameron Gettinger. Camry's a sprinter and jumper who also helped out in the sprint relays. Her season's best in the 100 was 13.7, 200 was 28.9, and her best long jump was 14 feet. Junior Allie Giesler. Allie was a utility sprinter this season. She saw some time on both relays, but her best event was the long jump, where she jumped a season best of 14.4 3/4. However, her season was cut short by a quad strain. Freshman Hannah Giesler. Hannah came out and joined the sprint crew for about the first half of the season. Around mid-season, she came to me asking if she could move to the, quote, dark side. She worked real hard. It can be a little intimidating, but she was a trooper about it. She earned a PR of a 2:47 in the 800 and ran a 74-second 400. Freshman Sam Grimminger. I know she's not here tonight. Susie Harlow. Amy Hook. Amy's a promising young distance runner. She ran a season best of 2:35 in the 800. That was her leg of the 4x8 at the district meet. She's also ran a 5:47 in the mile. She earned all conference honors in the 2 mile with a time of 12:27. She's a promising youngster indeed. Junior Monica Inman. Monica primarily ran the 400 and the 4x4, but her favorite event was the pole vault. She vaulted a season's best of 9'6" and narrowly missed a trip to the state meet. Freshman Maya German. Maya's a distance runner. She's excelled in all the distance events from the 400 on up. She's all conference in the 4x8 relay, the 800, the 1600, and the 3200. She's all district in the 1600 and the 3200. This past weekend, she earned all state honors in the 3200 meter, placing 4th with a time of 11:15. It's the 4th fastest in school history, behind Taylor Werner and Jess Bollinger. She also earned all state honors in the 1600 meter, placing 6th with a time of 5:12, which is the 3rd fastest in school history, behind Bollinger and Werner. Junior, Sarah K. Joggers. Freshman, Mallory Kohler. Another freshman phenom distance runner. Mallory's all-conference in the 4x8 relay, the 800, and the 1600. She's all-district in the 4x8 relay and the 800 meter run, and this past weekend she earned all-state honors in running the 3rd leg for the state champion 4x800 meter relay. She owns the 5th fastest 1600 meter time in school history and the 3rd fastest 800 meter time in school history. She's up there with pretty good company. Sophomore, Kayla Kryler. This hardworking sophomore specializes in the hurdles, with the 300 hurdles being her best event. Her top this season was 54.08, but she also ran a top time of 19 flat and 100 meter hurdles. Freshman Selena Kryler. Freshman Bailey Smith. Sophomore Steph Smith. Freshman Abby Stolzer. Abby spent the season as part of the throwing group. Abby earned personal best of 22 feet 10 inches in the shot and 76 feet 3 inches in the discus. Like all the young throwers, continuing to master the techniques will ensure improvement. Sophomore Kendall Solkowski. Freshman Nicole Upchurch. Nicole is a determined young distance runner who specialized in the 2 mile. Her personal best this season was 12:47, and that earned her all-conference honors. Freshman Ashley Viox. Ashley's a tough little utility runner who ran the sprints, the mile relay, and triple jumped. She had personal best of 14.8 in the 100, 28.9 in the 200, and ran a 66 split in the 4x4. She also triple jumped 31 feet 6.5 inches. And she doesn't even complain when she's hurt. Junior Shelby Warner. I know she's not here today. She's up at the Festival of Miles, but I should say some things about Shelby. She's one of our veterans on the distance side. This season she earned all conference honors in the 4x8. She ran a 2:24 split. She ran the 1600 meter one time this year, and she earned all conference honors. She ran a 5:33. And her event of choice was the 3200 meters. She ran 11:32, earned yet another all-conference honor. She earned all district honors in the 4x8 relay. She's part of the school record holding 4x800 meter relay team, who ran a 9:20 at sectionals. They broke the old record by 13 seconds. And she ran the second leg of that championship team. Freshman Taylor Werner. Well, we know she's not here, but I've got quite a list of things that she's accomplished this season. I've been coaching track for about 20 years, and I've got to see some phenomenal runners. But Taylor may well be the best I've got to see. She opened the season by running 4:57 in the 1600 meter, and she broke the old school record of 5:08. About 2 weeks later, she ran the 2 mile and ran an unheard of time of 10:25. The old record was 11:10. And that was set by Jessie Bollinger, who went on to run in college, and she's ranked like 3rd in SEMO's history as a distance runner. So that 10:25 is quite an accomplishment. She anchored our 4x8 relay team, running a split of 2:16 at the state meet. This past weekend, she earned 4 goals. She entered the 4x8 relay team. She won the 1600 with a time of 4:52. She knocked 5 seconds off that first mark. She won the 800. She ran a time of 2:13:12, another school record. She won the 2 mile, 10:38. That set a Class 3 state record. And she's just a freshman. Sophomore Ashlyn Wilson. Ashlyn specialized in the hurdles. She ran PRs of 20.6 and 50.5 57.6 in the 300 hurdles. Sophomore, Reagan Zerwig. Senior, Brianna Crump. Bree's been a mainstay at the pole vault for the last 4 years. It's her true passion. Although I don't think she's reached her goals, she worked hard every day. She's a pleasure to be around, and she embodies the spirit of St. John track. This year's PR in the pole vault was 7 foot. I'd like to thank her for her time and her efforts. Bree's been a fine addition to our program for the last 4 years, and she will be missed. Senior, Morgan Greither. Morgan's been a member of the mid-distance crew for the past 4 years. She's ran on the 4x8 for all of those years. As a freshman, she ran an astounding 224 split at the district meet. Her sophomore season saw a PR of 227. I think we both know why she was a tad slower. Can you say cookies? Morgan's junior season, she ran a 222, and by the way, she also ran a PR of 66.1 in her leg of the 4x4. This season, she ran 220 at the sectional meet and a 64.8 split in the 4x4. The success Morgan wanted was pretty elusive. This past Friday, Morgan earned the All-State honor she'd worked so hard for so many years. And then I got this thing about life lessons. Do you want to hear them? Well, it's not always fair, and we know it's not easy. Sometimes it makes you hurt. You don't always get what you work for, but ultimately don't give up on your dreams. I'm proud of the young lady Morgan's become, and I wish her much success in her next endeavor. Senior Megan Herman. Senior Rachel Hook. Rachel had a frustrating spring season. She suffered from issues, seems like from the start. She started out with foot problems, and then she had hip flexor and IT band strains. But Rachel's a warrior. She won't give up. She got healthy enough to run 4 meets this season and earned all conference honors in the 3,200 meter run with a time of 12:42. But let's take a step back in time with Rachel. When she was a freshman, her best 2 mile as a freshman was 15:13. I can't lie. As a sophomore, she ran 12:49. You can do the math. I don't. It's faster. As a junior, she ran 12:09. Still faster. However, it seems Rachel's springs have always plagued her with issues. Rachel's perseverance, dedication, and hard work have paid off, however. Next fall, she'll be running for Maryville University. And my last 2 seniors, Danielle and Olivia Udi. Yeah, I'm calling you up together. They've been on the team for, well, one of them 3 years and one of them 2 years. I can't tell them apart. Sometimes I get it right, but it's a 50-50 chance. Right, D? Or O, whoever you are. They've been key members of our sprint squad since they started. I don't know which one's fastest. It depends which one you ask. According to my records, Olivia can smoke Danielle in the 100. Is that right? And Danielle can whip Olivia in the 200. Anyway, these girls dedicated themselves to the program this season. They hit the weight room before school and worked extremely hard when they were out on the track. They set great examples for our youngsters and were key members to our relay teams. I thank them for their memories, and I wish them the best in their next endeavors. And this is the girls' track team. Go ahead and stay up here, ladies. I got to give out some awards still. And for the record, I did have a number of people call me or text me and tell me they could not make it tonight because of prior engagements. All right, awards, and these are voted on by the athletes. And we're going to start with the medals this year. The Hustle Award. And we had a number of ties this year as well. This year's Hustle Award goes to Shelby Warner and Morgan Grather. And we'll go to the Most Improved Award. We got another tie. Maggie Fleeg and Amy Hook. Outstanding sprinter hurdler. She's not here tonight, but that was Natalie Engel. Again, the outstanding sprinter hurdler was Natalie Engel. Outstanding distance runner. Can anybody guess? That goes to Taylor Warner. Outstanding relay runner. Yet another tie. The Uting sisters. And we move on to our two plaques. This year's Outstanding Field Event recipient, Monica Inman. Strangely enough, our Outstanding Track Athlete goes to Taylor Warner. I never can say everything I'd like to say about these youngsters. Time just doesn't permit it. They are a pleasure to work with. This has been another dream season. I thank you for all your support and your hard work, and I thank your parents for the support as well. Thank you.
Coach Jett, you did make it before 8:05. I always tell my coaches, take as long or as short as you want, but 8:05 would have been pushing it. We are going to go ahead and go to boys track. So Coach Toombs is going to do the talking for the boys track, and come on up and do that.
Thank you. I want to echo what Coach Jett has said, as well as Coach Schweiss. A lot of the thank yous, I'm not going to go back over them, but I really thank you, parents and athletes. Parents for taking the athletes, making sure they get to practice, making sure they get where they need to be, going to meets to support them. You know, we are really blessed in this community with having the parents that we do have, how supportive they are. They come to meets. Coach Keeker and Coach Thompson usually ride the bus back from track meets with 4 or 5 kids. And that just shows, you know, the old school I came from before I came to St. Genevieve, we might have 2 parents show up at track meets. And so thank you very much, parents, for being there for your kids through the high points and the low points. The rest of the thank yous, Coach Jett said those, so I don't need that paper. The boys track team this year. Coming into the season, we felt that this year we could have a pretty good team. We had top-notch distance runners we knew would place high in almost all the meets. We had returning sprinters with really good experience in big meets that I felt could score. Solid throwers returning that we knew were going to score. And jumpers with lots of experience. And again, we knew we were going to be at the top of the conference. It was our hope we could have enough to make a run for the conference championship. Every year I begin by asking for some team goals. This year the kids had one goal in mind, and that was to be conference champs. In my 18 years of coaching track, this is the closest team that I've ever coached. For many years, the distance kids and Coach Jett have come in to run in the mornings, getting here at 6 a.m. And I felt this was the year that it was the sprinters' turn to show that same kind of dedication. We opened the weight room every morning and had some of the sprinters come in to lift. It was a combination of that work ethic and team attitude that continued to pull this team together. We even had shirts ordered this year that on the back read, "One team, one family, one mission, win." That was the mantra the team had all season. Every day they worked to get better. I could rely on the older athletes to help the JV and the middle school athletes without even having to ask. They know what it means to be a St. John High School track athlete. At this time, I'm going to bring up some of our track athletes, the ones that are here, and I probably will go ahead and have something to say about all of them because, you know, with the reschedule, some of them I know had prior engagements. So, freshman Austin Brewer. Austin decided to come out this year about a week after the season started. He worked really hard, competed in many different events. His best events were the pole vault and triple jump. He's going to be a tremendous asset to the program in the next few years. Freshman Dalton Campbell. Dalton can always be counted on. He's always willing to do whatever's needed and help with anything. He was a thrower for us this year. With continued lifting and agility, he will continue to grow as an athlete. William Ferris, freshman. William's a diamond in the rough. He ran everything from the 100 to the 800. He's got some terrific speed and planning on running cross country in the fall to increase his base for a great track season next year. Freshman AJ Gons. AJ's another thrower for us this year with great potential for the future. He's got a very long wingspan, which is perfect for the discus. And again, weight room and agility drills will help AJ for the future. Freshman Gabe Harmon. Gabe didn't get many opportunities in the throws because of an injury to his hand coming out of wrestling season. He was always willing to step in where he was needed, running the open 100, long jumping, even running the open 400 in a meet this year. Again, he's going to be one of those kids that I know will lift and get stronger for the future. Freshman Zach Herzog. Zach is another versatile freshman running everything from the 100 to the 800, who's also a pole vaulter. And along with Austin, I can see the future in pole vault is going to be really bright. He too has decided to run cross country in the fall to increase his base mileage. Freshman Leland Hook. Leland is the kind of kid all coaches love to have around. He works hard, always keeps a smile on his face, always be counted on to help at big meets and do anything asked of him. I hope he continues to come out and be a part of the track program. Freshman Cade Jett. Cade is a workaholic. He's always asking what he needs to do to get better, always willing to help out wherever he's needed. He's going to be a great shot thrower in the near future because he is definitely not afraid of the weight room. Freshman Anthony Rowe. Anthony's blessed with great jumping ability, though his flexibility leaves some to be desired. He worked hard to get faster, stronger, more explosive by coming in mornings to lift. He was the JV conference champion in the long jump. He's going to be one of the returning athletes who will be counted on in the future, especially in the high jump. Freshman Morgan Shank. According to Coach Thompson, he's affectionately known as Peaches. Morgan was a thrower for us this year, and like the other freshman throwers, he works really hard, does anything needed to get better. As he continues to grow and gets in the weight room, he's going to be a tremendous asset to the track program. Sophomore Joe Allen. Joe is a tremendous athlete with tons of potential. Joe was a key part of our 4x4 relay as well as running the open 400, even 4x8 a couple of times. He's great potential in the long jump, which could be one of his best events. Unfortunately, Joe fractured a bone in his foot at the conference meet running the 4x2 and was done for the year. I'm sure he's looking forward to his junior year next year as one of the athletes to be counted on in the varsity meets. Maybe long jump, 4x2, 4x8, 4x4. Who knows? Sophomore Jacob Cole. Jacob came out this year, worked really hard to improve all season. He's a member of my JV sprint relays, made himself a pretty good long jumper. Also ran on the JV 4x4 relay once, running an impressive 58-second 400. For someone who hadn't run that race before, that was pretty good. He will continue to improve again as he gets older and gets in the weight room. Sophomore Garrett Elder. Garrett's one of our younger distance runners. He battled through most of the season with injuries, but did run consistently on our JV 4x8 and ran the mile at JV meets. If Garrett continues to run and put in the base mileage, he's going to see more success in the future. Sophomore Luke Gettinger. Luke's a kid with tons of potential, extremely coachable. He ran the sprints for us this year and even ran a couple times in the hurdle events, which I don't believe he enjoyed, but he did it. He achieved all conference honors as a member of the 4x1 relay team that has the second fastest time in school history, qualified for sectionals this year. With 3 of the 4 guys coming back from that relay, I expect big things in the future. He was also one of the athletes that were dedicated to coming in mornings and lifting during the season. That definitely improved his speed and strength. I'm sure he's going to have more outstanding performances the next couple of seasons. Sophomore Joe Howe. Joe's another one of our younger distance runners. He too battled through a foot issue Didn't get the opportunity to run as much as he would have liked to. Put him a little bit behind once he did get healthy enough to run, but once he got in better shape, he ran on the JV 4x8, ran the Open 8 at most JV meets, began running already for the cross-country season in the fall, and with that base mileage and staying healthy, he could be one of the distance runners in the future to be counted on. Sophomore Brandon LaRose. Brandon's another one of those athletes who ran most sprint relays, but because of a back issue early in the season, didn't get the opportunity to do what he really likes to do, which is triple jump, until later in the season. At the JV North County meet, I needed him to step up and run the 4x4 relay at the end of the meet, and even though he was hesitant, he did it and ran extremely well. Ran well enough to be on my varsity 4x4 multiple times. He also bought into the morning lifting and definitely be one of the sprinters to be counted on next year. Sophomore John Shilley. John was another young distance runner for Coach Jett, also a key member of the JV 4x8 relay team, ran the 800 and the mile. His specific focus was the mile. He worked every meet to lower his time, and another runner that with more miles will get better in the future. Sophomore Jonas Schwint. Jonas is an athlete, spends most of his focus running the hurdles. He spent most practice working on his form and stretching to make himself a good hurdler. He battled some leg and shin issues most of the season, but worked really hard to better his times in the hurdles. I know he's going to continue to work the next couple of years to improve. He's running cross country in the fall to improve his stamina for the 300 hurdles. Sophomore Harrison Womack. Harrison came out this year for the first time, worked with Coach Thompson in the throws. Each week he continued to improve and was always there to help out at all of our meets. And I hope he continues to lift and get stronger for the years to come. Junior Devin Brown. Devin's a first-time track athlete this year and a tremendous worker. Ran everything from the 100 to the 400. Even talked him into running the 4x8 relay once. Devin does everything he needs to do to make himself better every day. I know Devin will do what he needs in the weight room to become stronger and faster for next season. Junior Brendan Dallas. Brendan's one of the cornerstones to the sprint crew. He ran on all 3 sprint relays as well as the Open 200. He too is an athlete not scared of the weight room. He came in mornings to lift, and the strength really paid off. He spent a majority of the season running workouts for the 400, which allowed his time to drop throughout the season. He earned all conference honors as a part of that 4x1 relay, which is, again, that second fastest in school history. There's nothing he wouldn't do to make himself or his teammates better. He is definitely one of the leaders going into next year. Junior Matt Drury. I said last year at this banquet that Matt might be one of the most competitive athletes I've had the opportunity to coach. I now believe he is probably the most competitive I have ever coached. Matt will do whatever it takes to be better than the day before. Unfortunately, this year was probably something that hindered him for a majority of the season. He began the year with some back issues that carried over from basketball, but his competitive nature wouldn't allow him the time he truly needed to get back to 100%. He knew that more days off would put him further behind. So once close to healthy, he began running the 400, was an anchor of the 4x4. He was also on the 4x2. He's in the weight room every day, and he will definitely get stronger and faster for a tremendous senior season next year. Junior Tayon Fleeg. Tayon's a thrower for Coach Thompson. He threw both the shot and disc at different times. Again, the worst part Coach Jett said earlier about having so many kids is the limited opportunities. So Tayon didn't get a whole lot of opportunities this year. Unfortunately, he didn't get the time and the opportunities to improve. He did continue to get better through the season, and I hope he plans to come out for his senior year and get more opportunities. Wyatt Fleeg. Again, Wyatt was a thrower for Coach Thompson. This year he actually did some workouts with the sprinters to make himself quicker in the 100, 200. Again, continue work in the weight room will give him more explosive and quicker, which allow him to improve for next track season. Junior Luke Hemmerla. Luke, also another thrower for Coach Thompson, threw in most varsity meets in the discus. He's addicted to the weight room. He's in there nearly every morning and works extremely hard. Unfortunately for Luke, as the season was winding down and we were getting ready for districts, he hurt his knee in PE. He was still at practice every day, one of the leaders for the throwers. I know he's going to be in the weight room all summer, and I look forward to seeing what he can do next year in the throws. Junior Andrew Moore, Beebs. Beebs is a tremendous distance runner. He was a good runner as a freshman. He was an even better runner as a sophomore, but that wasn't good enough for him. He wanted to be even better. He worked hard putting in miles during the summer, had an outstanding cross-country season where he finished second in the state in Class 3. During the winter, he continued to put in miles to be ready for the track season, and it all paid off when he tied the school record in the 3,200 meter this year, qualified for the state meet in that same event, and at the state meet, Beebs achieved all state honors, finishing third at state. He was all conference in the 3,200, the 1,600, the 800, and the 4x8 relay. He's also on the top 5 list for the 1,600, running the 4th fastest time in school history. He's a vital part of the varsity 4x8 that got 5th in our sectional, nearly making it state, and he has a tremendous future in the track and cross-country program. Junior Clayton Nagger. Clayton's a key member of the varsity sprint relays, as well as the open 100 and 200 and long jump. He's a runner for the conference. He was runner-up for the conference champ in the 100, qualified for the sectional meet in the 100-meter dash. All conference this year is the anchor of our 4x1 relay that qualified for sectionals. And again, he has found himself second on the all-time top 5 list for the 4x1. Has tremendous speed, will even get faster as he continues to work on his posture in the 100. He's a powerful runner with explosiveness out of blocks. Most meets you go to, you watch the 100, I will almost guarantee you the first one out of the blocks is going to be Clayton. Once he learns to maintain that top-end speed, he could see himself also at the state games next year. He's a leader in workouts and definitely will be counted on in the future. Junior Kellen Stiegel. Kellen came out this year as a first-time thrower. For someone who had never thrown before, he did a great job learning for him, especially in the shot. He's a hard worker in the weight room, do whatever needed to make himself better. I know he's going to continue to lift and get stronger and more explosive. It's my hope he comes back next year and will continue to grow in the throws. Now I'm going to get to my seniors. First senior, Josh Doge. Josh is a distance runner for Coach Jett, a vital part of the conference champion 4x8 relay. Not only all conference, but also all district. He ran the open 800 and open 1600 in most meets. Like all of Coach Jett's varsity distance runners, he comes in every morning at 6 a.m. to get in his mileage and sometimes even do the workouts in the morning. His dedication is what has made Josh a good runner. He isn't blessed with tremendous speed, but has worked to make himself a top-notch runner. Josh will be running for Benedictine University in Illinois next year. He's been such an asset to this program with his passion, dedication, goofiness in the locker room, and slobber cocktails. And some of those will be missed more than others. Josh, you are a tremendous young man with tremendous heart. Good luck next year, and we will be following your progress in college. Senior Gabe Meyer. Gabe is my varsity jump specialist. Gabe was a long and triple and high jumper in most all varsity meets. He became an all-conference athlete in the long jump and triple jump this year. He's a conference champion in the long jump, as well as all district in that jump. Gabe did something else I asked a former athlete to do. This year at conference, he ran the 300 hurdles to help get more points for our run at a conference championship. Not only did he run well, Gabe was third in the conference in an event he spent almost no time training for. He's a fantastic athlete that works ridiculously hard in the jumps. Gabe, your enthusiasm for jumps and leadership with the younger athletes will truly be missed. Good luck at college, and you're always welcome to come back and help with the jumpers. Senior Kyle Nicholson. Kyle's a thrower for Coach Thompson, whose specialty is the shot. He's another workaholic in the weight room. He was there most mornings, and it really paid off for him. He was a runner-up in the shot at conference, was throwing his best at the end of the year. I know he would have liked for his season to go longer, but he did a tremendous job all season. Kyle, you'll definitely be missed as a leader in the throws, and again, good luck next year. Senior Jacob Pinkley. Jacob's a distance runner for Coach Jett, a vital part of that conference champion 4x8 relay where he was all conference and all district. He's also all conference in the 800. Again, he came in mornings at 6 a.m. for mileage or workouts and tremendously dedicated to running. When we were again trying to place as high as we could for a run at a conference championship, he volunteered to pole vault, something he hadn't really done in a while, and he ended up getting 7th in conference. He ended the season as a member of the 4x4 relay as well. He'll be running next year for Missouri Baptist University. I know they're excited about his potential to help their distance program. Jacob, your dedication and daily effort will truly be missed in this program. Good luck at MOBAP, and we again will be following your progress. Senior Alan Rayfield. Alan was a thrower for Coach Thompson who really excelled in both throws, but especially as a discus. He's a technician at the discus. His form is nearly flawless. Alan's a quiet leader in the throws. He doesn't get riled up about much, just does his job and does it well. Alan was a conference champ this year in the shot and all conference in the discus. He missed an opportunity to compete at sectionals this year. He threw the shot far enough to be 5th place on the top 5 list all time, and he also is on the top 5 list all time for his 153-foot throw in the discus, good enough for 3rd place all time. Alan was a worker in the weight room, a leader in the throws. Alan, your quiet confidence and leadership will be missed next year. Good luck at college, and you're always welcome to visit and help Coach Thompson with the throws. Senior Cole Reynolds. Cole's a mid-distance runner who had to battle some breathing issues in the past. This year's focus was on the 4x4 relay. He worked every day to get better and faster. He worked with other 400 runners to improve his times throughout the year. He also ran on the 4x8 relay a few times this year. He's always smiling or laughing like he is right now. He's great to be around, whether it's giving everything he has in a workout or just getting made fun of by Coach Jet. He works hard and is a truly valuable part of this team. Cole, good luck wrestling in college, and you have definitely made this year enjoyable. Senior Dylan Roth. Dylan was a hurdler for us this year. He could always be counted on to help the younger hurdlers. He did a great job teaching them stretches and hurdle warm-ups. He was the strongest in the 110 hurdles, but also ran the 300 hurdles on occasion. Dylan competed hard at every meet and was continued to lower his times as the season went on. Good luck in his future endeavors. Senior Tyson Roth. Tyson came back out this year after being a first-time track athlete last year. One of the most coachable kids I've ever been around. He's a true leader in the weight room. He's one of the first ones there in the morning and usually the last to leave, often cleaning up weights others didn't put away, spraying down the benches to keep them clean. He became a vital part of our varsity sprint relays, was a part of the 4x1 relay team that again was all conference, all district, made it to sectionals. He is also on the top 5 list, like Clayton, twice for that relay team and last year's relay team for 4x1 relay. This year's team was 2nd overall, and last year's was 4th overall all time. He also became a mainstay in the 100-meter dash. Tyson worked every day to improve. During the middle of the season, his shins began to hurt, so he would do some of the workouts at the Pool Community Center. His work ethic has made him a tremendous asset to any program he's in. Tyson, in your 2 short years of track, you've set a standard that we will compare others to in the future. Good luck at college and in the future, and again, come visit when you can. Senior Ethan Shrimp. Ethan's a mainstay in this year's 4x2 relay. Ethan battled through injuries most of his high school years. This year he stayed relatively healthy, ran the open 200 as well as triple jump in some varsity meets. He could always be counted on to help with handoffs in the sprint relays, both boys and girls. Many times through the season, coaches are spread pretty thin, whether they're working with the vaulters or hurdlers or jumpers. That's when Ethan was at his best. He could always be counted on to help with the handoffs. He was one of the first to step up when and wherever we needed it. He, Gabe, and Steven became the ruler of the jump pits. They can make a sand pit look as smooth as can be. I had more than one coach come and comment to me about how they wish they did every jumping event at St. Genevieve, just because the kids know how to rake the pits and make them look good. Ethan, you'll be missed next year. Good luck at college. You're always welcome again to come help in the jumps. Senior Tyler Urich. Tyler's an outstanding distance runner for Coach Jet. He's the anchor of our conference champion 4x8 relay that was also 5th in sectionals, just missing an opportunity to go to state. He was all conference in the 800, 1600, 3200, and 4x8 relay. He again is now on the top 5 list all time in the 3200 meter, running the 5th fastest time in school history. He's a very talented runner with tremendous speed. He has the ability to run nearly anyone down at the end of a race. He too is in every morning at 6 a.m. He's been the cornerstone of the distance program for multiple years. He'll be the runner that those in the future will be compared to. His leadership is unbelievable. Tyler has continued to run and will next year be running at Maryville University. Tyler, good luck in college. You know we'll be following. And like many others in the past, like John Boyd, Will Everett, Eric Diesel, come run with the team when you're home from school. Senior Stephen Wilson. I still remember 2 years ago when the throwers were down, goofing off in my sand pits, messing around, trying to act like they're jumpers. And Stephen went by, tried to act like he knew how to do the triple jump, and I kept saying, do that again. and he'd go back and he'd run, do that again. Needless to say, from that point forward, his throwing time was limited. He spent most of his practices working with Gabe, Ethan, and Anthony. He was really made himself a great triple jumper. He was a conference champion in the triple jump and achieved all conference honors in that jump. He's a tremendous worker who also addicted to the weight room. He's made himself a tremendous athlete by his hard work and dedication. Stephen, your attitude, work ethic, and leadership will definitely be missed next year. Good luck at college. And last, before I give out the words, I just want to thank again all the athletes and parents and administrators, these coaches. It's been awesome, the time I've had. I know the program's in good hands as I leave. So, come out and support them like you have in the past. So the awards. Ready, Coach? Okay. We'll start with, outstanding relay runner. When we vote for these awards, all the kids get to vote, and then the coaches also vote. This year, the outstanding relay runner was pretty simple, I think, for most of us. The one who ran on all 3 of the sprint relay teams, outstanding relay runner Brendan Dallas. Outstanding distance runner. Again, I said it. He will be one that others will be looking up to and want to be like him. Outstanding distance runner Tyler Urick. Outstanding sprinter hurdler. Not only the anchor of our 4x1, but also made it to sectionals in the Open 100, Clayton Nagger. The Most Improved Award. Now, I'm not really sure how to take this award because I think we had 17 kids got a vote for the Most Improved, which means either everybody worked really hard to get better or we really were not very good at the beginning of the season. I'm not sure which one it is, but the person who got definitely the most votes was Josh Daget. The Hustle Award. Again, I think we could have given it to every kid on this team. I can't ask for any better than what these kids gave me every day. Although one really stood out, and again, it's a shame that he was only there for us for 2 years because he was definitely one that every day gave everything he had. And Hustle Award this year is Tyson Roth. All right, the plaques that we have, 2 of them. First of which is the Outstanding Field Event Athlete. Really close here. We had some guys, lots of guys that did get actual votes for this award, but one got the most. Definitely now on the top 5 list in 2 different throws. Outstanding Field Event Athlete, Alan Rayfield. And the Outstanding Track Athlete, no doubt, led our distance program along with Tyler, made it to the state meet, also 3rd all-state. Outstanding Track Athlete, Andrew Moore. Again, the 2013 boys track team.
Oh, is it? So we a little bit away yet? 8:05, right? Okay. As you guys heard, Coach Toombs is hanging up his whistle. As far as I know, I speak for a lot of people out there, and personally, I don't know St. Genevieve track without Coach Toombs. It's a tremendous loss to the program because he's a tremendous coach and mentor and friend to these kids. And although he's going to be sorely missed, and the selfish part of me doesn't want him to hang up his whistle, we totally understand, and we hope that I can talk him back or talk him into getting back into track one of these days. But he'll be missed. Like I said, I don't know track without Coach Toombs, so it's going to be a little weird, but we'll move on, and I know he'll still probably be out there just as much as I am, so we'll see him out there. I got to say, Kyle Nicholson, where you at, Kyle? Where'd you go? I don't think I can ever look at you again the same. Ever since I watched Lip Dub and you did I'm Sexy and I Know It. I hope eventually I can get past that, but not yet. So I think we are just about to the point where Taylor's getting ready to run. I hate to get Coach Gibson up here and then interrupt him a minute or two into his speech, so I think it'd be a good time to, what's that?
They're running that 4x1.
Are they running a 4x1 first? Okay. Well, Coach Gibson, we may have to interrupt you, but I'm going to go ahead and bring you up, and maybe there'll be a smooth transition between Coach Gibson and Coach McDaniel. JV Baseball, Coach Gibson.
First of all, I'll leave all the thank yous to Coach McDaniel. And I want to say something about varsity. I very seldom talk about varsity. When I get up here, I leave that usually to Coach McDaniel, and I talk to the players individually. But I think that this team deserves at least a couple of sentences, and that is this. You're going to hear the hard work, the off season, the way they became brothers, and that's evident in the record and district championship and that type of thing. But one thing you're not going to see with those accolades is that they were fun. Every team that I've had great success with, there's been parents pushing them and players that wanted to have fun playing the game. And these guys were a lot of fun. And I could tell you some individual stories, but we'd be here all night. So I'm not going to do that. Let's see. The other thing is a lot of you had cake. I know my baseball players probably had 4 or 5 pieces. Some of these real skinny track girls up here had like 7 pieces apiece. But I just want to say this about the cake. My wife and I go on a diet every summer, and just to make you guys feel better about eating all of that cake, it must be diet cake because she had a piece. So feel good about eating all of that cake. Okay, that said, Coach Banks and Coach Swent are going to hand out the awards. Coach Banks, I'm personally going to miss you. He's the outfield coach and does a lot with hitting and filming, and I understand why you're leaving because being a head coach of another sport is commanding, and so you're going to be sorely missed. And Cody was one of the assistant coaches that coached without pay and made my job a lot easier, considering I'm going to be the oldest guy in the high school next year. I can't hardly throw anymore. I can't walk. I have a hard time talking. So if I fall asleep, somebody wake me up. But the one thing I wanted you to see, he's got his shirt out now. He got butter all over his pants, and I told him that I wouldn't say anything, but I lied. Okay, that said, now these guys that I'm going to name first are on the JV team, but they will be talked about at the varsity level, so I don't want you to come up. So Schmelsley, when I name your name, don't come up. Okay, these guys helped out on the varsity this year a lot, but they just saw some varsity time, so they're going to get talked to later, or talked about later. Freshman Jake Brewster and sophomore Nevada McAlpin, Blake Meyer, Drew Schmelze, who I call the General, Cody Stacy, and juniors Adam Fisher, Dennis Fleeg, Jacob Kemper, and Aaron Stupey. These guys were all involved in the successful season we had at JV, and I'll talk a little bit about that after I get these guys up here. Now hold your applause, and when they come up, as I name your name, come up, get your award, and then I will talk a little bit about the season, and then we'll move on to the varsity. Freshman, Brandon McKenzie. Sophomores, Owen Roth, Tate Meyer, Tyler Billings, Lucas Stiegel, and George Stiegel. So Mackenzie, you're the only one standing up here. That's awesome. So not to embarrass you, I'll go ahead and let you have a seat. But what I do want to say about the JV this year is my job as a JV coach and Coach Banks' job and all the other assistants that we had this year is to make them ready for varsity. And if you have a 500 season and you've developed the players into the players that you think you can use at the positions that you're probably going to use them, then it was a successful season. And my record in the 8 years has been somewhere around 500. Sometimes it's 2 games over 500, sometimes it's 2 games under, sometimes it's 500. So I would say that I'm right on the mark in that respect. But this year, these guys were 15-3. That is a bunch more than 500. I'm not a math teacher, Mr. Chief, but it's a bunch more than 500. So I just want to say it was fun coaching you guys, and you have big shoes to fill. So thanks a lot for this season, guys. Good job.
Okay, it's up next, so they're finishing the race before it, so we're going to go ahead and get the computer prompted up here, and feel free to move around if you need to see it again. I'll get it ready, and then I'll come back and kind of describe again exactly what we're watching.
Used to have volume,
This group of girls running up here, basically they're going to be running a 1 mile race, which with this group of girls won't take long. You're looking at 5 minutes or less, most likely. This is the Big River Festival of Miles. Again, Taylor Warner's running in this. It's a national race as far as the quality. You've got Hannah Long from Eureka, who is the Class 4 champion in the mile, the 2 mile, and the 4x8, I believe. An outstanding runner. You've got a runner, and I don't know their names, but there's one from Arkansas, one from Iowa, and you can't, and Kentucky. You can't be in this race unless you're good. So, you know, Taylor, hopefully she's got high expectations here. But you know, this is the best of the best in the Midwest, basically. And Coach Toombs was telling us, everybody's sub 5'10". Everybody in this race has run under 5'10" in the mile, which is extremely impressive for a high school girl. So they're going to get started here in just 1 second. We're going to try to maybe get some audio to it as well.
You want to put that to this?
We'll try to figure out which one's Taylor too. I don't think she's wearing her St. Jen.
I think she's the third one.
She's the third one from the left, kicking her heels, or she was kicking her heels, and now she's running in place there. Keep your eye on her there. She's third from the inside, from the orange cone. Second?
Second.
She's currently right there with the leader there. She's the darker complected girl, now in second place. So try to keep your eye on her. I'm sure she'll be in camera shot maybe the whole time. That's the first of 4 laps.
Not a lot of kids, not a lot of freshmen would have seen that as potential. She goes. Want to go with her?
I really hope she's right there and just gonna pull on it. That's pretty crazy to see her have her
Final lap here.
3:39.
It's still long and Jim's 4-2 and Warren and Fred and Chasey. They're starting to put it in from 4th, 5th, and 6th. It's long, Jakes, and Warren, 3 of the best runners in the entire country. Warren was 10th at Free Rapid Nationals. Jakes just ran 4:43 at the Free Mile. And Warren was 13th at Free Rapid Nationals. He didn't qualify for Happy Coast Nationals. Ladies and gentlemen, Jakes and Warren, 200 meters to go. They are 4:15, under 4:15, 200 to go. Warren and Jakes separated from Warren. Warren and Jakes. Warren has won more at the middle school level, and she's one of the high school runners. She's the defending champion. She was second in this race as an 8th grader 2 years ago, and it is long and Jakes. 100 meters to go, and Warren has led the entire race. The brother was second in this race. It's long and Jakes. Jakes, the freshman from Iowa, starting to pull away. Running an incredible time. It's Jakes, followed by Long, 4:46, 4:47, 4:48.
Wow, 4:48. That's not your high school mile either, where you run 1,600 meters. That's like what is it, an extra 40?
9 meters.
Extra 9 meters. Okay, so she ran her personal best and had to run 9 meters further. So outstanding. Very, very proud of Taylor, and I know she would be happy to hear that you guys are here cheering her on and rooting for her. So congratulations, Taylor, on your outstanding 3rd place finish and a 4:48. That's unbelievable. I don't know if I could drive a mile that fast. Pretty sure I can. Okay. Thank you, baseball coaches, for allowing us to take a break there. And again, I know you guys are kids first and don't mind, but I had to thank you. And that takes us to varsity. So Coach McDaniel, come on up and let's hear about your fantastic season as well.
Thanks, Coach Nix. Kind of hard to follow something like that, so we'll try anyway. One thing I have to know is, Toombs, I have to know, what is a slobber cocktail? That sounds terrible. terrible, I tell you. I don't have enough time, so don't show me, Josh, all right? Please don't. And I got to tell you, Nicholson, he's got some moves. In the weight room, these guys, whenever they get in there, songs come on the radio, next thing I know it, I'm pretty sure he can rock the Animal Prince pants out of control, but I'm not sure if I want to see the Speedo trying to tan his cheeks, though. You know I love you, Kyle. Some thank yous just real quick. My coaches, Coach Gibson, he kind of mentioned earlier having some help and everything too. I think that what he feels that he lacks in physical contributions is far outweighed by what he offers in knowledge and wisdom. He's always my right-hand man. He always basically tells me that, he's there to offer advice in certain situations, try and make things better. If I decide to go with what he decides that is best for us, then he says, hey, that worked out well. But if I decide to go against him, he said, well, if you want to lose, I guess you'll just do that. So, we have a very good relationship. We haven't had a fight in a while. That's one thing that we used to do quite a bit. At one point, somebody would disagree with the other one, and the other one would tell him to shut the heck up, and he'd go sit in the corner of the dugout, and the other one would go on the opposite side of the dugout. One of them would ask, hey, are you done pouting yet? Nope. Okay. All right. Just keep moving on. But it's a give and take relationship. I couldn't do things without him. That being said, too, Coach Banks, we're definitely going to be missing Coach Banks. He was a great addition onto the staff several years ago. Does a lot with our outfielders, does a lot with our hitters and everything, too, and is a good person that these guys can talk to and relate to as well. He'll definitely be sorely missed, and hopefully we have a replacement that's just as good and has a lot to offer just like him. So I thank you, Coach Banks. Next, we had 3 volunteers this year. It's always great whenever you have former students or former athletes come back and help your program. And I know that one of those people over here is Cody Schwint, the other one was Vince Wolk and Jake Dunsey. And to have them come back and volunteer their time whenever they don't have to ride the bus, they don't have to show up to practices, but they're there and they're throwing batting practice and doing all these sorts of things, it gives them an opportunity to give back to the school that gave them a lot in the first place. So I couldn't do anything or as much as we do without them. Other thank yous too, we already talked about sports boosters. Coach Nix, I know it had to have been one heck of a spring this year with all the rain and reschedules and everything. I think that I spent about 5 minutes in his office and I felt like 5 years had gone by. He was doing so much stuff in such a short amount of time. All the local and outside media that we have too, covering our games, they do an outstanding job. City Parks Department, Yanks organization, even the River Dogs organization for working concession stand for us. That takes up a lot of time, and it's a kind of a headache or a mess that we don't have to deal with, so I appreciate that. Connie Bowman for all the pictures and everything you take. I know that these players and the parents especially appreciate, especially on social media, on Facebook, going on there and being able to tag people, share those photos with everybody. And Connie sent me a message earlier today too saying that she is retiring from doing these high school pictures. Somebody please take up the slack, all right? But what she does and what other people do too, as far as taking these pictures, it gives you an opportunity to have that picture to remember, for the rest of your life, a certain time period that you can never get back, but you can always go back and reminisce on those, and that's something that she does and others do as well. Anyone that has donated to our program, through fundraisers, anything like that. One thing that we were able to do this year was to hold a throwback game where the students or our athletes here really wanted to get some uniforms that were kind of different. And whenever they looked in our baseball closet, we had all these ratty uniforms that were dry rotted waistbands and everything else whenever I was playing. And even before that, they thought those were the coolest things. Those things are nasty, guys. I think moths have eaten holes in those things. But they wanted to wear them, so we thought we're going to make it a little extra special. I got hooked up with a place called Vintage Baseball Factory, and we're able to come up with some uniforms basically from just past the Civil War era in the 1880s, and these guys couldn't have been happier because it came after a day whenever they beat Cape and Notre Dame. We went up to my room, they saw those packages and tore into them like it was Christmas morning, and I don't think I've ever seen them more happy in their lives. So thank you for all those of you that have done those things to give us that opportunity. Students, a lot of you guys that are sitting here that came out to the ballpark, wow, it's awesome to see you all come out and support your classmates like that, even if you're not a girl that has a shirt on that says baseball player's girlfriend or whatever it is. Also, too, to all of our supporters and even our naysayers for challenging us to make your sons better ball players and better young men. And also to all the previous coaches that these guys have had in their lives. Without your help, our job would be a whole lot harder. Now, on to our season. There's a lot of preparation. Oh, sorry, let me backtrack. Last year was a bit of a wake-up call to everyone after experiencing a successful sophomore year, but we were no longer a team flying under the radar. We were a team with a bullseye on our back. Over the course of 4 years with our team, we, the coaches, always knew this was a bunch of, as Coach Gibson said, fun guys. However, one thing seemed to be somewhat elusive that became more of a priority their senior year, and that was focus. I'm a big believer that with adversity comes strength. With our shortcomings and adversity over a year ago, it was time to reevaluate, and strength, along with perseverance and determination, soon followed. A lot of preparation went into our off-season, and these seniors saw this as their one last chance to make an impact on school history. They lost the first game of the season, which I know is not exactly the way that they wanted that to go, but they went on to win 12 straight right after that and get to be ranked number 3 in the state, which I don't know if the St. John baseball team has had that happen in a very, very long time. Along the way, we beat teams like Jackson, Jefferson R7, Valley, and even Cape Notre Dame, all state-ranked teams in their respective classes throughout the season. And we went on to a 21-7 record. We averaged over 7 runs a game. And guys, I'm going to have to tell you, whenever we're coaches, we all got on to you about your terrible batting averages and how it was only like a 260 average, and we've never had a team under 300 and everything. I made a mistake in the program. So that 260 average actually was a 330 team average. But you guys were better for it. You know, these guys had 3 simple goals this year. Number 1 was to win conference championship. Number 2, to win a conference tournament championship. And number 3, to win a district championship. First goal didn't necessarily work out the way we wanted it to. You know, had some tough games, had a chance at the end to play Farmington and maybe share a conference championship. Wasn't in the cards. Second goal, conference tournament championship against Valley, a team that we had played earlier in the year and beat, but for 5 innings. It was an excellent played ball game. Nick Vaith pitched, did an outstanding job. Then the rains came, and out of the 7 runs that were scored that game, all 7 were unearned. So needless to say, you don't like it to end that way, but once again, with adversity comes strength. And the one thing we had to get across to them is this is not the end-all and the be-all of your season. You still have one chance left to make an impact. And that chance was a district tournament. And they accomplished something that no other Dragons baseball team has done in 20 years. They beat DeSoto for that conference championship, for that district championship, and sent ourselves into sectional play. Let's go ahead and introduce our managers first. Our managers this year, Taylor Hudson. She was here.
She's at dance.
Oh, she's at dance. Kaylee Arnold, who I know is in Florida. Megan Giesler. She's at dance. Marissa Gons, who's in Florida. Katie Palmer and Megan Klein. Are they dancing in Florida? Anyway, these girls, they come out to some of our 30-degree or 40-degree practices early in the season and everything, even in sandals sometimes, which I'm not sure why they do that, and then have to go to players' cars and find blankets and everything else, run and get our, as coaches, milkshakes and all this other kind of stuff, and put up with the needless and nonsense type of chatter that goes in the dugout with these group of guys here and everything too. So their efforts and everything are definitely appreciated. All right, going to do our underclassmen first. Freshman Jake Brewster. Not here. Sophomore Andrew DeRouche, who will receive a provisional letter this year. He comes out next year. He'll get a bar for this year and next year for varsity play. Nevada McAlpin, not here, who will also be getting a provisional letter. Blake Meyer. All right, Blake. Drew Schmelsley. Cody Stacy. And our juniors, Adam Fisher. Dennis Fleeg. Logan Geck. Jacob Kemper. and Aaron Stupi. These are the underclassmen that we had this year. Truthfully, I would like to say a lot about each and every one of them, but one thing that I have to say is your guys' time will come. All right, when you're seniors, I'll talk more about you. But one thing about these guys, a lot of them got a lot of work and development on the JV level, but were able to step in sometimes to the varsity level this year and give us a lot of great innings. I know in some cases, like Logan here, it didn't necessarily end up the way he wanted to. He was one of our many ACL tears that we had, left over from football, which really stinks. But they said, I know that he'll come back just like a lot of these other ones with the hard work and determination that they do in the off season to hopefully repeat a lot of success that we had on the varsity level this year. And I think that they demonstrated that by their JV record as well. All right, these are your underclassmen for the St. Genevieve High School baseball team this year. You guys can take a seat. All right, on to our seniors. First senior, Al Gunter. Now, if anybody has not seen Al in a while, he looks completely different than what he did before. I don't know how his hat stayed on his head because his hair was very, very long. Now, Al's one of these guys, he has such a violent swing. Matter of fact, it's so violent that whenever I think it was around his freshman year, went to the doctor because he was experiencing some pain and basically said that, well, we think he might actually have a cracked vertebrae from swinging so hard, if that's the correct diagnosis, yeah. Needless to say, when you're swinging that hard, you're putting a lot of torque and a lot of force on your body and everything. For him to come back and recover from that was a great feat in itself. But the one thing we had to convince Al of is that you can swing as hard as you want, but you got to hit the ball too. If he ever got a hold of one, it was going extremely long ways. But we had to convince him to kind of cut down his swing a little bit and relax at the plate. And when he did, his numbers just went up. And I think he put a lot less pressure on himself to do that too. One thing, and I know Al's not going to like me to bring this up, but I have to because I believe Al. I do. I believe in Al. We were in a game against Farmington that could have decided the conference championship. Al comes up, I believe it was a 2-0 game at that time, and hits a bomb over the left center field fence. I mean, just an absolute shot. Rounds the bases, and I don't think anybody's ever slapped my hand so hard coming around third base or anything. He was that pumped. Well, apparently Farmington and the first base umpire thought he was so pumped that he was walking on air and completely missed first base on his way around. So they appealed it and said, he missed it, you're out, home run, taken away. Was not a good situation at all. But I told Al, I told the radio, and I've told everybody, and I'll take it to my grave too, that I believe he touched that base just like we always tell him, all right, all the time. So Al, I know you touched the base. Unfortunately, you don't get credit for that home run on the stats, all right? But it's a great moral victory is what it is, all right? And one thing about Al, too, I saw in his senior kind of quote, too. He said he is the most awesome senior at St. Genevieve High School. You said it.
You had the wrong.
It's in print. I have it right over there. And you said you were willing it down. You were willing it to Adam Fisher back there is what you're going to do. Now, you may think because you were first that you did it because you're the most awesome. I'm sorry to say it's because you're in alphabetical order. All right? Sorry about that. Al is actually entering the Air Force, and I wish him absolutely nothing but the best. I know that's a tough choice and everything to do that, but I have no doubts that they're getting a great person in Al. Our next senior. Our next senior is Bryn Hook. I don't think Bryn could make it this afternoon or this evening here due to, I think, a death in the family. But, I would really like to say something about Bryn, too. I mean, battling back from an arm injury during the summer. I came back his senior year here. We used him at catcher quite a bit and did an outstanding job. All right, and he's going to have some big shoes to fill behind the plate as well. He was an all-district player for us. Our next senior, Brock Kreitler. This is one of the most easygoing guys that never seems to get bothered about anything. Well, he and Al both. Al's pretty mellow. just standing there, you can tell. You know, Brock leaves a long track record for St. Genevieve High School baseball. He's an all-conference, all-district player from his sophomore year all the way to his senior year. He's been named Dream Team member twice. And last night at the Dream Team Banquet, he was actually named the Dream Team Player of the Year for baseball. So that is one, that's actually one other player in St. Genevieve history has done that. I think that was Chris Bloom back in the early 90s. So to have that, that's a pretty awesome feat to accomplish. Holds a lot of school records for hitting for us. We don't necessarily have official records for whatever reason, just baseball before I got here, they never really kept a lot of official records. We try to do the best we can, and as far as I know, he holds about 7 records altogether for season and career. Now, the one thing that he is the most proud of, and I said this at the banquet last night, doesn't matter that he batted 500 this year, doesn't matter all these other accolades, his pitching. He is a great pitcher. And one of the, well, actually all 4 years, he's been saying, Coach, I can go in and pitch. I can do it. I'm ready whenever you want me. With save opportunity, oh, I can do it. When we start, I can do that too. Well, finally, this opportunity came his senior year here, and one of the coaches actually told him that he was bothered to pitch. He said, well, Brock, I know your arm feels good at all to you. You've been saving it up for the last 4 years. So anyway, he went out there, had a 0.0 ERA. He struck out 4 people in 2 innings pitched, only allowed 1 hit. So no matter what his hitting stats were, he's most impressed and most satisfied with his pitching performance. Next senior, Danny Lurk. This is an individual that I couldn't be more happy that he decided to come out for baseball his sophomore year. I remember having a conversation with him his freshman year after basketball, and he said that he was not going to come out for baseball. I thought he was going to, but he said his body was kind of worn down, just, you know, wanted a break and everything, and I said to him, you know, just don't make the mistake of not doing it now and then wishing you would have done it later on. And he came out his sophomore year. We had a little bit of a problem over at third base with some consistency. Him stepping in the first year that he comes out for high school baseball, we put him in over there and stuck his nose in, took him off the chest, face, whatever it took, and he solidified himself in that third base spot, and even making plays from his rear end that he did in the conference championship his sophomore year after he slipped and fell and threw the guy out sitting on his rear over at first base. But Danny, you know, after an ACL tear and everything this year, it was really great to see that whenever they thought he wasn't going to be able to play baseball, he was actually able to come out and contribute very much on the varsity team this year, making all conference and all district honors. And one thing about Danny too, for whatever reason during this season, we always have signs and everything that we give players, and Danny was over at first base and I wanted him to steal, and I kept giving him the steal. I was doing it more emphatically every time. I was like, was he not stealing? And then after the third out was made, he came over and said, Coach, do you want me to steal? I was like, yeah, I wanted you to steal. He goes, you gave me the wrong sign. I gave him last year's sign. So that was my fault. Yeah, and actually I think I attributed it to not having my caffeine, because I usually have a soda at the beginning of every day or every game, and I didn't get that soda. After that, no mistakes at all. Our next senior, Lucas Palmer. Lucas is a person that turned into a fantastic first baseman. You know, talking to his summer coaches, you know, he'd never played there, and his sophomore year we stuck him over there in a pretty pivotal game against Valley and just shined beyond belief. Put him over there, and they even said, hey, we never thought of that option, but now it gives us something else that we can do. And he made that his home. I knew that it was going to be a good season and a fun season, because in the very first game, his last at bat of that game, he hits a rocket down the first baseline against Chester, and what could have won the game? Yeah. On that instance, yeah, could have won the game, and it was foul by about 2 inches. Is all it was. And I know he's thinking, well, Coach, that's not a happy story because I struck out after that. But the thing about it is he didn't let that bother him at all, because there were several games where he came up huge in pivotal situations and ended up giving us a chance to win the game. One of those instances, whenever we played Festus in our district game, is Bryn Hook got on first base, and Danny comes up, and I believe Danny bunts him over, and we had about a 4-run lead. And the shortstop looks at Bryn and says, what are you guys bunting for? You're beating us by 4 runs. And he didn't say anything. Then Lucas comes up, gets a hit right through the middle. Bryn turns around, the shortstop says, that's why. And that kind of shows what these guys can do. And, you know, with Lucas, too, he keeps things loose. You know, Jake Brewster, being a freshman, going out and throwing his very first varsity game this year. Jake's, you know, I think he struck out 2 of the 3 batters, you know, or first 2 batters. And you throw the ball around the infield, Lucas gets the ball, and he starts bouncing it around and everything like it's a hot potato. He just couldn't hold on to that thing because Jake was throwing so well. But like I said, that's the kind of attitude that, that Lucas brings. Nice, loose atmosphere for everybody. Next senior, Jacob Rowe. Jacob turned to a different position on defense this year and thought he did an excellent job, you know, with the transition. And one game I took him out of the 9 spot. That's kind of been his home. And he almost just freaked out at that situation. He looked at me and said, "Coach, what are you doing?" So, well, I'm putting you in a different spot. That's my spot, you know? He felt like he owned that spot. You know, and some of the things, or one of the things about Jacob, if anybody knows him, he has some of the best jokes and some of the worst jokes. Just worse. This isn't one of his jokes, but I could use this one. If I asked him, say, why does it, if a runner hits a ball and he runs all the way around the bases, why would it take him longer, all right, to get from second base to third base than it would from first to second base? There's a short stop in between. Oh, it's terrible. But, oh, the track guys just got it. Sorry enough, Jake. But all of Jacob's hard work and determination and his fun-loving attitude earned him all conference honors this year as well. Our next senior, Adam Schwent. This is one thing that I just absolutely hate, and I know Adam hates it more than anything too. He had such an outstanding junior year. A person that came in not really playing a lot of competitive baseball, comes into high school and soaks everything up like a sponge. And his junior year has a breakout year for us, and ACL tear. Cannot, you know, play his senior year. And I heard rumors that he and Danny may go out for golf and everything. Sorry, Coach Schweiss. Actually, you may be thanking me. But, you know, and I thought that would be a shame to have these kids that have been playing together for so long to not have one of their brothers with them. And for them to decide, or for Adam especially to decide, you know, since he knew he wasn't going to be able to play, to be able to come out every day at practice, get done with rehab, he's there at practice, to come to every game, all right, I think was a testament to his character and the commitment that he has, not to just the game or his school, but to these guys that are standing next to him as well. I really wish that he could have played his senior year, all right, but it just wasn't in the cards, but he gave everything he had no matter what. Next senior, Andrew Suter. Another haircut. Now he's shave his face though. You know, Andrew wasn't able to play at the beginning of the season, but came back with a vengeance, taking the bull by the horns and becoming basically one of our top pitchers and our top hitters. You know, and after missing several games, his stats end up rivaling those of everybody that had played, you know, the full amount of our games this year. And to show what kind of a warrior and everything that he is too, our last at bat against DeSoto in our district championship game, he's getting ready to go up there, and he says, "Coach, when I get on, you probably need to hit Brock, and we'll get him around that way." I said, I was kind of thinking that. I said, but first you got to get on. He's looking at me and said, "Don't worry about it." He gets on, and then all of a sudden Brock comes up and says, "Hey, Coach, I'll do whatever you want to do. If you want me to lay down a bunt, I'll do that." We hit and run with him instead. All right, ended up scoring a game-winning run, you know, just a couple batters right after that. But Andrew, for all of his hard work and everything, too, heck of a baseball player, earned all conference and all district honors this year as well. And our last senior, Nick Vaith. With the absence of Andrew, Nick seized the opportunity. He had a breakout year for us, helping to lead our pitching staff and fulfill a tough role by being our leadoff hitter as well. I don't think I've seen anybody that has worked harder than what Nick has to try and make up a gap that maybe was there with kids that might be just a little bit more talented than him. I remember his freshman year coming in the weight room, he was lifting weights that were lifting him, is basically what it was. And then goes out his senior year and does an outstanding job. He also earned all conference and all district honors this year as well. And just in case anybody has a bottle of Beano for flatulence, I'm just telling you, please give it to these guys. This is one of the gassiest bunch of guys I've ever been around. There's not a huddle or a pregame meeting or postgame meeting that goes by where you don't get interrupted by something.
Move to that side of the podium.
Sorry about that, guys. You know, all in all, this group of seniors will be missed for more than their... We'll see how fast they can run. Thompson said he's just going to shot put them. All in all, this group of seniors will be missed for more than their concerted efforts on the diamond. For these young men and their fellow classmates, the 13 in the class of 2013 is definitely not an unlucky number or one that will be forgotten anytime soon. Instead, it has been implanted into a culture of what it means to be a St. Genevieve Dragon. Sure, it's great to look up at the wall in the gym and see that they are one of only 2 baseball teams in school history to win a district championship, or that they set a record for the most wins in St. Genevieve High School baseball team history. These are all things that can actually be duplicated. The legacy and the footprint that they leave cannot. You know, I think about some of these guys at one point helping a special young lady, and not just these guys, but even you guys out there, your classmates, helping a special young lady have the moment of her life this year by being voted prom queen. I can't help but think where some of these guys, one of their teachers lost one of their faithful companions in their dog, and these guys scrounged up enough money to buy a puppy to replace that for them. I'll never forget in a situation where they probably should have been very down after a sectional loss, and you can't help but having fun with these guys. They take a bunch of silly string and come up in the booth and silly string their coach and Frank Kirchmer on the radio as well. And basically the bond between these friends to make each other better through hard work and determination. These are things that cannot be duplicated. These are all things that speak to the special relationships that these people have with others and the type of character that they possess. I'm proud to say on behalf of myself and my fellow coaches, it has been a privilege to coach you these last 4 years and see you not only grow as ball players, but special young men. To their parents, thank you for everything you've done over the years to get them to this point. I know it only seems like yesterday that they put on a baseball uniform for the first time, and now they're heading out into the real world. Well, college anyway. I don't think you have anything to worry about. You've all done an excellent job and have a lot to be proud of. And even if they do get knocked down, once again, have the confidence in them, because with adversity comes strength. And to my seniors, we love you all and hope to see you back at the ballpark sometime soon. Good luck. And remember, no matter what you choose to do in your life, I'm not going to tell you it's going to be easy. I'm telling you that if you put your heart and effort into it, it's going to be worth it. These are our seniors this year. Award winners we have for this year. Highest batting average was a gentleman who, they said, has cemented himself in the baseball history books for St. Genevieve. Highest average would be Brock Kreitler with a 500 batting average this year. Our RBI leader, don't go too far, Brock. With 33 RBIs this year, and as far as I know, another school record, Mr. Brock Kreitler. Our top pitcher award this year. The voting was really close. You almost made it. It was really hard to give this to one person because I felt that 2 people just really anchored the staff that we had. And anytime, not that we discount any effort that anybody else gave us on the mound, but it's something whenever these guys took the field and one of these 2 guys took the mound, they knew that we were in it and there was a possibility they could beat any team on any day. Those 2 pitchers that we had were Nick Vaith and Andrew Suter. soccer, your medal's coming later for that. And our last award is the MVP. And this is something that I kind of toiled with quite a bit because, I mean, all of these guys have contributed a lot to the program, whether it be on the field, off the field. And I mean, sometimes things are pretty black and white as far as stats, but there are other intangibles that go along with it. And for this reason, I really found it hard to give this to one person. And because this is a group, and like the back of their district championships shirts say, Band of Brothers, I thought the brothers always stick together through thick and thin. They may not always agree all the time. There are ups, there are downs. All of them deserve the MVP award this year. These are your MVPs for the 2013 baseball. Thank you.
Yeah, you got stuff. Not silly string or anything.
Dean, come here. They have gifts, so we'll give them a minute to get their stuff together, get in here and do their thing. While they're getting that stuff, I'll go ahead and mention something that Coach Toombs wanted me to let the boys track kids know. I'll just read the note. Mention if any boys track members want to order their patches, they need to get that to Coach Toombs tonight. He has blank order forms, so boys track. If you want to order patches, do that tonight.
Uniform check-in for baseball tomorrow at 3.
Uniform check-in for baseball is tomorrow at 3 at
The high school gym.
the high school gym. Baseball uniform check-in at 3. Okay, I think they're ready to go. Baseball, do your thing.
Yeah, sorry. Let's go in the dugout. You go in the dugout.
You guys, you'll have to stop by and see this picture. It's hilarious.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks.
I'd like to echo what Coach McDaniel was saying, not only about his own players, but just about the kids in general in our track and golf and baseball programs. We've got fantastic kids. You know, we always have at St. Genevieve. Our parents raise our kids well, the right way. But it just seemed like this year it was special, and not just the athletes, but just all of our kids in the high school in general. And I don't know how many times this year in conversation with Mr. Haney or a coach or whoever it may be, I made comment that, you know, I've got a 3-year-old daughter and a 7-year-old son, and several times I said if my son and daughter turn out like this person or this person or this person, and there was just a long list of kids, I always said I would be a very happy dad if my kids turned out that way. And that's, I mean, you can't have a bigger compliment than that. Just a fantastic group of kids. Being an athletic director, as opposed to a teacher and coach, you know, the good and the bad, just like any job, and one of the bad is that I don't get to be a big part of any one program anymore, but one of the good things is I do feel like I get to be a small part of every program that we have, and that's an exciting thing for me. This wraps up our spring sports banquet. I do want to do a couple things before we move on. I want to thank the parents for all that you sacrifice from the time that your kids are born to now and to the future, because without you shaping your kids, teaching them responsibility, teaching them work habits and ethics and things like that, you know, your kids wouldn't be doing extracurricular stuff and wouldn't be as fantastic as they are. Before we do 50-50 in the banner winners, I'm sure that Mr. Boyd wants to see the award winners. So if you are an award winner for any of the sports tonight, over at the a la carte window there, don't take off. He wants to get your picture. 50-50, take your 50-50 tickets out.
20, 40, 50, 60, 74.
Okay, for $74, and bring your ticket with you so we know that you're not fibbing. It's hard times out there, you know. Winning ticket number is 675-052. 052. 675-052. Anybody? Mr. Lurk? No, yes? No? Okay, we'll catch up with that person in a minute.
Hey, Jeff, tell the baseball player we got stats.
Okay. Coach McDaniel wanted me to let the baseball players know that he's got stats for you too to hand out to you. Banner winners, just a reminder, this raffle, the proceeds to this raffle go to the scholarship that the All Sports Boosters provides every year to one senior boy and one senior girl. We've done that the past couple of years. We just take the 50-50 money as well, and also the raffle money, and that goes to a scholarship for a senior athlete, boy and girl. So it's a tremendous thing for them to be able to do that. What I'll do basically is really quick, I'll just reach in each one of them and pull out one slip. Okay, let me make sure I get them all in there before I do that. The golf banner, which looks like we ended up having several, will go to Kyle Roth. So Kyle, when I get that banner in, I will give your mom a call or give you a call and we'll get that taken care of. Baseball. Baseball has been very, very good to me. Nick Bates. Nick, I will get you yours as well as soon as those come in. One of these times I'm going to pull out one of those fake names. I'm going to get all red up here. Okay, boys track, Andrew Moore. Beebs. All right, girls track, final one here. Mallory Kohler. Okay, award winners, don't forget to stick around. Thank you once again for coming and have a wonderful summer. I didn't even know that.